Hi, Mike. Thank you so much for being here today.
Hi, Michelle. Good to see you.
So, Mike here is a career coach, so he's going to be giving us some guidance and advice on choosing a career. So, Mike, what should people consider when choosing a career?
Well, there's a number of things to consider. I think one of the things I recommend is, get in touch with what you're passionate about. Many of us go through our lives and our careers on autopilot, and we end up pursuing careers that maybe it was something our parents wanted or a teacher, other voices in our lives, and it's not always our own voice. And that's where I find a lot of my clients get into trouble. That's where they become dissatisfied because they haven't been paying attention to that or honoring that. So that would be one aspect of it, and paying attention to what types of things, activities, or areas do you get energized around? You know, what is something that would be your larger purpose, right? And so those are some of the, I'd say, kind of the bigger areas to look at. And then in terms of choosing where there's other things like, well, what are you actually good at? Or what could you be good at?
Hmm.
Um, what are some of the things that maybe others have shared with you that you're gifted with, right? Those, so there's a lot of different clues that we can pick up to help us figure out what's important, and our values can guide our career as well, right? So if you value, for example, um, conservation, right, and the environment, let's say, and you go to work for a mining company, a silver mining company, that's destroying the environment.
Yeah.
Like, is that compatible with what
Uh-huh.
your values are, right?
And
Or if you
and is
value, yeah,
is that what a career coach helps you discover? What you're passionate about, your values, and helps guide along that path?
yeah, absolutely. So career coaches will help you get really clear on who you are
Mm.
and what you need, kind of your underlying needs and motivators, and help you set some goals or create a vision for yourself of the type of career you want, and then the pragmatically how to get there, the nuts and bolts. How do you
Mm.
research careers? What's the process for that? And then jobs themselves. How do you go about your conducting a successful job search?
And are all career coaches the same, or what should people consider when choosing a career coach?
Yes, career coaches are very different. With the coaching profession in general, um, it's not like being a doctor or a lawyer where you have to have like that degree and that license. There are licenses and certifications for coaches, so I would
Hmm.
look for that if you're looking to hire a coach,
Hmm.
because that's something that can distinguish someone that just calls themselves a coach, but they don't necessarily have the qualifications.
Hmm.
Um, some of the other things to look for is how much does the coach develop themselves, right?
Mm.
Do they keep investing in themselves along the way? I think I spent about 25 grand in the last 3 years just on my own development, right, through that. So, and that helps my clients, right?
Hmm.
So those are some things to look for. But some coaches are more prescriptive and directive, like step one, step two, step three, and many people are looking for that. Just tell me what to do.
Mm.
My style is quite different. Mine is more of a facilitative style
Hmm.
and provocative style, and where I'm asking questions. So there's many coaches, particularly certified coaches, have more of that approach to help you discover the answers that you have already. And it doesn't mean we won't provide advice or things
Hmm.
like that, but that's the emphasis.
So how does having the right career impact mental health?
Yeah. Well, I think we've seen with the Great Resignation how many people realize they're not in the right job or the right career because of
Hmm.
their mental health's taken a toll. They're saying, I'm not willing to put up with this, crap.
Mhm.
I don't know if I can say that. I'm not willing to put up with this stuff anymore, this environment. So I want to be in a place where I feel a sense of belonging, where I feel respected, where I feel I have a true sense of advancement, where I can advance in my career. So, particularly if you're a minority, I see that a lot with clients. I work with a lot of clients, women and um, you know other minorities, to help them strategize to advance. Quite honestly, in a world that's not always favorable, and that affects their mental health. And so it comes out in different ways. Sick leave.
Mhm.
So sometimes we take out sick, or just that sense of dread when you're waking
Mhm.
up and you need to go to work, or log in from home nowadays for many of us. And so it leads to a lot of, you know, literally people getting sick, not just the mental health, but, acting out and not
Mhm.
being their best selves at work. And it creates a self perpetuating cycle where you don't feel at your best, you're not acting at your best. And so in turn, people aren't going to treat you
Yeah.
well, and it just perpetuates.
Mhm. Yeah,
Yeah.
so it sounds like you help people break that cycle, and perform to their best ability.
Yeah, we spend a lot of time with on mindset
Mm.
with coaches. So I like to go deep with my clients. Coaching's not therapy, so it's not necessarily that kind of deep, but deep in terms of, getting to what's really important to them. What are the assumptions? How else might they respond to a very difficult situation at work, or in the job search process, so that they can be more mentally healthy, and keep themselves in that frame of mind.
Yeah. So, what advice would you have for parents in helping them guide their children to the career that is going to be best for them?
Yeah, that's a great question. So many parents have the best intentions, Michelle, but they want their kids to be successful, and
Mhm.
so they steer them into certain directions
Mhm.
that they think are deemed successful, like the doctor,
Mhm.
lawyer, type of conversation. And in reality, many of their sons and daughters do that, and then they're miserable
Mhm.
because it's not what they really want to do. So my advice is to really ask them questions and help them get in touch with what they would like to do. You can expose them to many things. So with my son, I was exposing him to different things, and then, letting them kind of see where they gravitate, and then encouraging or supporting that, where they're
Mhm.
taking the lead, right, on that. But, kids oftentimes want to please their parents, so they're not always going to be outspoken with that. They seek approval. And so, um, hiring a coach, right? Or if they have support at their school, in their high school or their college, there's resources there that are free, where they
Mhm.
can get some support and an objective view of things as well.
So, would you suggest before your child enters college or a trade school to get a career coach? Or would that be something that they would do after they graduate? When is the ideal time?
Yeah. Well, for many kids, they're not. Some kids are clear, like they know exactly what they want to do coming out of high school, and that's probably the minority.
Hmm.
And then there's those that are super clear but don't realize what they don't know yet.
Yeah, you don't know what you
And they
don't know.
discover it when they're in college. And they're like, oh, this isn't what I thought it was. I'm going
Hmm.
to switch majors.
Hmm.
So you have that. And then you have others that just completely don't know.
Hmm.
And so I think it's great if you can provide some type of assistance, career coach earlier on,
Hmm.
to open up some ideas, or at least, give them an opportunity to try out different things. That's why I'm a big fan of, the general curriculum, right? Schools typically have the first couple years because it exposes them to different fields and
Mhm.
disciplines that they might not have thought of. And so hiring a coach is something that can be helpful in that process. Or it could be maybe if they have a, a mentor or someone in their life
Mhm.
that has different perspective and experiences, but really just to help them discover for themselves, what might be some things that would be helpful. I've done that with my own son and my nephew recently, who's going to be
Mhm.
graduating next year. Again, but it's not necessarily a prescriptive process. It's really just to I would call it a, a formalized brainstorm process, a little bit deeper than that, but a way to really see what the possibilities are. And then, some realities, right? Maybe if they want to pursue a certain career, but it's something that's not going to be around much longer, there's not going to be many
Mhm.
jobs. No, we have to consider that too,
Yeah,
right?
longevity.
What's the longevity,
Yeah.
right? And vice versa. I don't recommend that you just chase the hot
Yeah.
career. Some coaches do.
Mhm.
Um, Again, there's merit in doing that, but if it's not aligned with what you really need and want and can do the lifestyle you want,
Mhm.
then at the end of the day, it's like Stephen Covey says, begin with the end in mind.
Mhm.
I think it was like habit 5 or something in this um, 7 habits of successful
Yes.
people. Yeah. So begin with the end in mind. So I'm a big fan of trying to do some of that planning ahead of time.
Mhm.
Also, just from a practical standpoint, if you know your child doesn't want to become a doctor or lawyer, do you really want to be saddled with $200,000 in in debt?
That, yeah, definitely,
So
definitely.
it helps when choosing colleges, right? You can
Mhm.
get just as good of an education maybe at one college versus another with the same major.
Mhm.
Um, so that's a big factor too.
Great. Anything else that you want the audience to know?
Well, I know. I mean, I would just say that this is a challenging time for many,
Mhm.
and the positive is it's a candidate's market right now. So if you're currently job searching, the um, job seekers really have a lot of leverage. Where employers can't get staff up enough, and many of my clients are also leaders in companies
Mm.
that hire. So I hear this all the time,
Mhm.
and so it's okay to be choosy, particularly right now, and take your time and find the right place for you.
Wonderful. Thank you.
So
And we'll be including your contact information and more about you below. So please look in the description box below this video. And if you haven't yet subscribed to Mind and Body Pilates, a wellness approach, click on the logo right below me. And thank you for tuning in. Thank you, Mike, for being here.
great, thank you.